Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownell Select Board Meeting, regular board meeting, September 12th, 2024, 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Angie Rowling.
Carl Strohmeyer.
Mike Gardner.
Jamie Percy.
William Cottrell. Will and rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Couple things to add into the agenda, and I'd like to move one item. I'd like to move the discussion and plan for emergency services, public information, right after warrants, before we go into reports by town officials or updates. And 13, we need to add an addendum, A, 13A, a cash receipt policy review and possible update. Public comment, approval of minutes, warrants, the discussion and plan for emergency services, updates from town officials, presentation from Quantified Ventures offering Vermont DAC technical assistance, budget adjustments fiscal year 24, community tree lighting date approval, town offices concrete project estimate and possible action, purchasing policy review and possible update, cash receipts policy and possible update, public comment, executive for personnel and adjourn.
Make a motion with the changes.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes of August 22nd, 2024.
So move.
Second. Motion on a second. Any questions, corrections? All those, excuse me, all those in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, August 30th, $36,123.82.
So moved.
Second. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, September 6th, $22,133.20.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, September 13th, $64,955.10.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, August 30th, $11,601.09.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Payroll, September 6th, $13,457.56.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Payroll, September 13th, $11,979.18.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and plan for the emergency services public information meeting next Thursday at the rescue squad building. And we have a couple members of a couple of different emergency services organizations in town here, so that's why we moved the agenda to get them out of here.
Here's the agenda on the flyer that went on.
There's a flyer. Just please join the public information session with the Select Board Rescue Squad, Pownell Valley Fire Department, Pownell Fire Protective Association, next Thursday at the Rescue Squad building, 25 Road at 6 o'clock. What will be discussed? Information regarding the agency's current standing of emergency services, future of emergency services. Here's the agenda that we have in place. Call the meeting to order. Board member roll call, discussion of the current status of emergency services in town. Discussion, future of emergency services in town. Public input, ideas and or comment, and adjourn. And there's Zoom information on this agenda as well. My goal, on this for Jason and Jamie is to, we had some emails that, the public was a little confused, I think, on a couple of different things. They did ask for some public information meetings other than select board meetings. So I thought we would dedicate a meeting right specifically to emergency services. Now, I don't expect you guys, any one of the three organizations, if somebody throws a whole boatload of questions out there, I don't expect anybody to be able to answer all of them. I think if somebody's expecting that, I think it's beyond reality. I think if somebody has some questions and can't be answered at the meeting, then I think it would be fair to maybe we set up another one to come back and answer questions, or because I think trying to put somebody on the spot because we don't know what kind of questions are going to be asked, right? It's a pretty broad, wide open area, you know? So that's how I'd like to handle it. I don't know about the rest of the board.
Sounds good to me.
You guys feel, I mean, I've been giving it a little bit of thought. I just, if somebody comes with some questions on why does your turnout gear have to be changed every 10 years? Well, then you guys can answer that, right? But there's something out there that you can't answer, and I certainly don't expect any one of the three to be able to just blow an answer out there, some obscure
We
question.
do our best to get the operating expenses and things that Jerry asked for.
Yep.
You know, checking out the meetings, so hopefully get some information questions.
Well, and I think there's a misconception that the select board is trying to take over emergency services now, which is like the farthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way. Okay, there's no way. I think that is the select board for a change and long overdue, trying to help you guys get funding various ways, trying to do what we can to help our first responders. Yeah, we are. And I think it's long overdue. I think it should have been done a long time ago.
That helps them strengthen our
But
community.
that's right. It's all about the community and safety of the community, right? And that's what we're here for. And that's all we're trying to do.
Mike, can we please ask that if anybody has any questions, that they send them to Tara by Wednesday at noon, and then she can get them out to the rightful people?
That was actually a great idea.
It's a great idea.
They have,
That way they can be
Give you a little
prepared.
bit, maybe give you a little bit of time.
Is Wednesday at noon, like if that's sent out to you, is that okay? Would you like
I
it?
mean, we'll do what we best we can.
Right,
Yes.
Everybody has full-time jobs, so.
Would it be better if we did it on to Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean,
All right, that
would
gives,
help. I
okay.
mean, we'll do what we can.
Give me an extra day?
Like
I mean, they can send them in over the weekend and she'll get them on Monday and, yeah, Tuesday at noon.
So if someone has any questions out there that you want to ask next week,
Maybe they can't make the meeting.
That's right.
Have a question.
that's right. If you can email the question to the town, to Tara, executive assistant at townandpound.org. She can get the questions to wherever they need to go by, Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And then it gives you guys at least a couple of days to try to figure out the answer. And maybe you don't have time enough, right? Maybe it's,
Well,
who knows, right?
And,
Could be a question that needs a little more time.
yeah, and then who has to get the information? You know,
Right.
Where you have to get it from,
you know.
yeah.
But then you won't be blindsided.
All volunteers.
Right.
We don't have secretaries that do that.
Right, exactly. You won't be blindsided.
but in that case, we can read the question so they know that it was received. And that you guys, whoever can say, we need a little more time to get the answer to that question. I mean, that's gotta be more than fair. And I would hope that maybe we can update.
Conception on how the departments are run and what happens in the department. Because there is two departments in town, which is not an unlikely thing in the town at the site. But, it's said earlier, I've tried for 30 years with open houses. Inviting people to come and see what we have and what we do and how we did it.
That's what we're trying to do here, Jamie. And we're probably gonna have the same end result,
Well, I appreciate the offer.
but we're trying. And if we offer it out there and somebody says, hey, we don't understand. Well, you had an opportunity. You've had plenty. This has been advertised. We talked about it. It's not a big secret. It's been out there.
Yeah.
So,
And we should have every department, I'm sorry, speak for at least half
Is
the
Becky
time.
coming in?
Yeah, I emailed her that.
Okay, Becky will be calling.
oh, sorry.
Flew down here.
Yeah,
That's fine. She's gonna get here just in time so she can come in.
we'll hold a minute for
We're about
Becky
pretty
and
good.
But the other thing is, I hope from our previous meetings, if we have any updates from things, that we can share that with the community also.
And I just want to make like flyer or like print things out to have for handouts and make posters for display and stuff like that, so that you guys don't have to worry about any of that.
Got to have meetings in the future. I want our station, I don't.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll do what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
And then people will come in and see what we have and how we do it. And like I said, there's a lot of history on how the town, at least in our department, how the town has acquired.
Set it up, the layout.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff at the access of the town that didn't come from taxpayer money.
Mhm.
You know, that's, we're trying to get people to understand that too.
Just in time.
Sorry, Beck. So the question back was, discussion and next week's meeting.
Yes.
So we've asked for, because you're a little late, but it's not your fault.
We moved it
I
up.
moved it because I didn't realize that you guys would be here, so I didn't think, and I don't want to keep it. If there's anybody that has any questions, any residents or anybody out there, Tuesday at noon, they have to have them to Tara. She will then forward the questions to the appropriate department. That way you're not blindsided. If there's questions that you can't answer next Thursday night, that's gonna be totally fine. We will reschedule, we'll figure something out. Whether we schedule another meeting or we email questions, from the board, or we answer it at the next board meeting or whatever, however we figure that out. Don't want anybody blindsided. We're trying to get the, there's a misconception that, and I know a lot of this is repeat, but misconception that the town, the select board in town are trying to take over emergency services. Not the case. We just want to get the information out there. Anything you want to add to that, Beck? I mean, yeah, it's just going to be an informational, like public, almost like a public hearing, but not quite like that.
It's a good chance to get all the info you would normally share at town meeting that doesn't get heard by a lot of people trying to.
Presentation.
That's what I was saying, give
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
10 minutes,
sure.
5-10 minutes, whatever you need.
Yep. And I think, and that's probably a good format, Jason. We start with that, right? Start with each organization. We can change that agenda.
Yeah, I think
And maybe that's what we do. Well, it would be under discussion.
it's still the same. I
It's
mean.
gonna be under discussion, so we're fine. So, start right out, whoever starts, flip a coin, whatever we want to do. Somebody starts and somebody ends and somebody's in the middle, right? 'Cause you got three. So,
In your presentation, just include where it's at now and what you think, the future is gonna hold. Needing to ask for more or whatever you're seeing as the future.
does that answer what you guys had? And I apologize. We didn't think it was a great big deal, so otherwise we would have invited you guys.
We've been trying to follow what we've been trying to, so we don't miss or, things don't get misrepresented, misrepresented.
Yeah, no, I think we're kind of over that hump, Jamie, about what it used to be like and we're trying to make it move forward too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're over that.
Yeah.
And I understand where you're coming from because I've been on that,
Yeah.
on your end, so. That's pretty much that. It's it in a nutshell.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Updates from town officials.
I do have just a couple quick things. Joel and I finally got our permit out to Route 7 for emergency access approved. That's been many years in the making, so that's my exciting piece of news. And then Julie just happened to share a reminder to all legal voters of town for the general election, November 5th, 2024. Voting hours will be 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The state of Vermont will be mailing out ballots to all of Julie's active registered voters starting next week. If you choose to vote in person, please do not open your ballot. Bring it to the polling place as she will take it from you and issue a new ballot. Otherwise, you will have to fill out an affidavit that you received one but didn't return it. If you are voting absentee, the last day for return mailing of the ballot should be no later than October 28th, 2024. Otherwise, I may not receive it before election on Tuesday. mail has been moving really slow and that's a challenge.
Mhm.
There's a secure drop box at the town office, 511 Center Street. It's checked twice daily. But that's probably your best option if you're voting absentee is to drop it off or send it out super early as possible, because her last reminder is that any ballot received after 7 PM on November 5th will not be counted. And that's from Julie.
So that was 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Correct, just like it has been the last few elections.
Yep, she just asked me to remind everyone. That's all I have.
That's it?
I think Eddie has.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll keep it concise. In terms of comfortable stuff, I wasn't able to attend our special election for security detail. I will be there for November to help out. Apologies with that for work conflict. I've met with the Historical Society last week. We're developing a vehicle flow and parking plan for the annual Witches Walk to maximize event safety. For animal control, we transported one surrender dog to Second Chance Animal Shelter. It's essentially cleared out her kennel right now, just in time. I'll be on vacation very soon. I'm still working on resolution for a large quantity of cats that were abandoned in town here. I'm working with a few humane societies and one rescue organization, and I think the property manager and I are almost complete. We've relocated 20 cats right now from one residence to different fosters organizations, the rescue. When I say we, I should say rescue organizations. With the property manager and I, we have only 2 animals left. So we're pretty much wrapped up on that case. And we successfully recovered a dog that's been at large in town for 2 months. That's had signs all over town. So these are 3 cases that took a lot of time, and happy they're finally coming to a close.
Good job.
Thank you.
I have one thing just quickly that came up.
Absolutely.
It actually kind of came up today, and you may be already aware of it. I just know through my bus drivers, there's a trunk or treat set up at the school for October 26th.
Mhm.
I don't think they need any police presence, but I'm sure that your presence would be more than welcome to have at that, with that setup.
Okay.
I apologize. I don't remember the times.
That's
I
okay.
just got the information today, but
Yeah.
Through the P2G or is it?
It's through the school, I think, right? They run it.
it's through the school.
Yeah, I can reach out there.
I think it's because it might be because that's on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're doing one to 27, but I just throwing that out there, Eddie.
Yeah.
Got nothing.
Absolutely, I can.
Just stick your head out there and see people and whatever.
Oh, I would love that. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's all I have. If I could take the opportunity real quick, I wanted to throw out a shout out and a thank you. The Bennington Police Department actually responded to 3 emergencies in the last couple of months down in Pownell. And I thought that was phenomenal. It's not their job to come down here and help us with emergencies, but they've come down to assist Vermont State Police. They've come down here for a recent traffic accident and just numerous things that are kind of close on the line. They've been a really, really good partner. And just want to say thank you to that. That's not their obligation, but they're here when needed.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And thank you, Bennington Police Department, for responding in Pownell when you needed. That's it?
That's all I have.
And that's it for town officials? Okay. Presentation from the Quantified Ventures offering Vermont DAC technical assistance.
That's me.
That's you.
You're like,
No, I knew. Do you wanna come up here and are you
where
comfortable?
would you like me to
Eddie, do you
be?
want
I don't
to
have,
come?
I don't have like a formal presentation.
No, fine, come over.
Take the chair.
It's just easier to do.
It's more
if you're at
right,
the
just
table.
like the Q and A session, right?
Thanks, Eddie.
Mortified.
Ooh, these are.
Yeah, they are.
Don't fall.
When you get up, be careful, make sure that, and if you get up, make sure when you go to sit down, they're behind you.
Yeah. So my name is Ashley Lucht. I actually was involved with Pownell's bond through the bond bank to get the work done to like build this place.
Okay.
Wow.
I thought your name sounded
A
familiar.
couple of years ago. Yeah. So I actually I worked for the Vermont Drinking Water and Groundwater Protection Division for many, many years. And then I was with the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund, which provides low interest loans to public drinking water systems for infrastructure improvement. And so I've worked with a lot of the fire districts here in Pownell, Oak Hill Children's School. I visited there a number of years. I mean, like I say, a number of years ago, it was probably 15 years ago. And then I joined the bond bank, and now I am with an organization called Quantified Ventures. You can say QV because it is a mouthful. But we were contracted with the state of Vermont in the Drinking Water and Groundwater Protection Division to provide technical assistance to what are called disadvantaged communities. And good, bad, or otherwise, Pownell has a number of disadvantaged communities. And Vermont defines a disadvantaged community primarily as a manufactured home community. And any public water system where the median household income of the town or the community is less than the statewide average. And so Pownell falls in that.
It's the statewide average.
The statewide average that they're using is like $66,500. So I don't remember where Pownell is, but you are below the $66,500. And so what my job is, because I used to do this, is to go to public water systems and kind of help them with any questions they have. And the reason why I'm here is because you guys are, even though I know you don't operate the fire districts or the other public water systems in the community, people who live in those systems may come to you, and it may be an alternative way of sort of getting into to reach the operators or the owners of those water systems. I know the fire districts have a prudential committee or their own governing body, be that what it is. So just hoping that that can be just another resource that you all can sort of provide the public to say, hey, call Ashley at QV, and she can help with fire district 1, 2, 3, manufactured home community, any of the like public water, the school, and is Oak Hill? I know there's a couple of manufactured home communities, Royal Pine. Harvey's is connected to number 2 now, I think.
Yes.
Evergreen.
Okay. Yeah. So any of those communities are able to use the service that I provide. And again, because I used to work in the Drinking Water and Groundwater Protection Division and in the State Revolving Loan Fund, and I have enough knowledge about the USDA Rural Development Funding Program and of course Bond Bank that I can kind of speak intelligibly about all the sources of funding that are available to people and kind of the goods and the bads of each one, because they're not all good and they're not all bad. It just sort of depends on the situation. And so that's just what I'm here to just sort of say, hey, this is available. Tara, I know that you had mentioned in one of your emails that the town has considered, well, the town has 2 issues. You've got PFAS. And then another thing is that the town might be considering or exploring public water system itself. And I know that this is something that has come up time and time again. I've had many conversations with prior town administrators, town managers about being a public water system. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have just sort of like off the cuff, or in the future, if you have, if something comes up that you're like, hey, it's actually something that we want to think hard about. Like I can tell you all of the like good, bad, and ugly about being a public water system.
Well, I think before we get into the public water system portion of it, I think that was kind of a topic when the ARPA money first came out.
Got it.
Okay, So there has not been a general discussion because we get accused of the secret,
Yeah,
like every other town in Vermont and the whole entire.
yeah, and actually, I don't, ARPA money would not have been able to have been.
And that's where that conversation
Okay.
started.
Okay,
Just kind of died there.
yeah, yeah,
I
okay,
mean, and honestly, there is a need for, in a couple of areas of town for, you
a
know,
wider, like, public water system.
that's not a discussion for, it's not a discussion that we've had.
Got it, okay.
When I brought this to you guys at the last meeting, that's what you said was that there were future possible.
Got it.
Vision.
But I also want to make it clear that we haven't had any discussion.
You're like, you guys haven't had a.
The only thing that was mentioned was when we had the last meeting.
And it was, we were out in the other room, we were talking about ARPA money.
Got it.
It's one of the, maybe
Got it.
we could spend money there.
Yeah,
I
right.
think I brought it up actually, so.
Right, so ARPA could not be used to create a new public water system.
Well,
It could have, well, and obviously you have to obligate it before the end of this year.
Yeah.
You have to spend it before the end of 2026. So that's going to be very difficult
Right.
when it comes to water or wastewater infrastructure if you haven't done anything yet. But ARPA could be used, I mean, anything that is eligible under EPA for water and wastewater systems is eligible for ARPA. And so extending a water system, well, it would only be extending a water system if you're consolidating. So if there are other public water systems in the area.
yeah, I think it's a moot point. To be
Okay.
honest with you, I didn't want to, I don't want to beat it to death. I just, we get accused of these secret meetings all the time and there's nothing that's
Okay.
ever happened. I don't want to get 5 emails tonight that, you know, when was the meeting on
Noted.
public water system?
Got it, okay.
I'm trying to head it off.
So no public water system in Pownell, like full stop. But yeah, I mean, happy to talk about eligibilities, happy to talk about sort of the ins and outs of being a public water system. I mean, I think one of the challenges in Pownell, as you are all well aware, is the geology and the geography of Pownell. And that is why you have so many disparate public water systems here. Is it's not wide and flat and like nice, easy digging. That's why you have pockets of, frankly, people living too, is that that's not easy.
That's why they call it the Pownells.
Okay,
Well, because it's the three villages.
yes,
It's the Pownells.
yep. Yep, and then even the one, I think it's number 3 down on the Massachusetts border, they actually get their water from North Adams. And so it's like,
Exactly.
that's not even,
No.
that's not even an easy water system to manage. But yeah, so it's just like, I'm going to many communities throughout the state and just being like, here I am. Obviously, and my services come at no cost to the communities, at no cost to Pownell or any of the public water systems that they're in. And I can do everything from, helping them establish a budget to like reviewing rates, to doing capital improvement planning, to sort of thinking towards the future. Even like establishing policies and procedures and evaluating funding sources, connecting them with other resources like leak detection or asset management planning, things like that.
So if there was and I don't know if there is, this is just kind of speaking off the cuff. If there was a water system in town that had an aging infrastructure, they could come to you at no cost. And they could say, what can I do? What can we do to improve this? Or where can we find funding or whatever, right? Is that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to provide funding. Just make that.
Right. But you could direct them on where
Yeah.
to find. That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
And because I also know enough about the Clean Water SRF, which funds wastewater and stormwater projects. And nature-based solutions. I'm not going to say that that's like what I'm supposed to be, because that's like full stop. This is funded by drinking water. But if the community also has wastewater, I can just be like, and by the way, this is what you need to do for wastewater. I can't go visit a solely wastewater system because that's not where my funding comes from. But yeah, I mean, I can work with the community, securing and writing an RFP to hire an engineer, a request for proposal to hire an engineer. I can help them when they get the preliminary engineering report, like put it into English, help them apply for.
What's good to know?
What we call pre-development or pre-construction funding, which is really important for a lot of communities because hiring an engineer, which you guys know, you just went through this with your architecture firm, is that's a significant investment to take out of an operating budget. And so the state of Vermont has what's called pre-construction funding. That's essentially it's a zero interest line of credit that accumulate, like no interest accumulates, no payments while they're in like the planning process. And then it can, like what we say, grow up to go into like design, and then it can grow up to go into construction. And again, no interest is accruing during that time and no payments are required on those loans during that time. So it kind of gives the community some breathing room so they don't have to take money out of their reserves or things like that to like thoughtfully put a project together before they have to start paying it back a year after construction is completed.
I think the flyers that you gave me, we could put on our website on helpful links.
Please do.
And I also do have the contacts for the public water systems in
Great.
so I could share that with them.
I've contacted them, but it might. This is why we're going to town. This is okay. We've tried the administrative contact, emailed, called. We've tried the operator, email, called, and now it's like, well, now let's hit you.
Operator Evergreen, I probably did not see that.
That's okay.
But I will share it with the owner.
That's okay. But yeah, that one pager, feel free to put it on your website. And my contact information is on it. It's just my last name at quantifiedventures.com. Yes, why we didn't shorten that to qv.com. It is not.
Somebody already had it.
It is not qualified adventures. It is not quantity ventures. It is quantified ventures.
Somebody already had it. The key part.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have. I know you guys. So if
Does anybody have any questions?
Not right now, no.
I think it's a great presentation. I hope that our water district communities, if they need help, would reach out, because it seems like it's a really good service that's offered here without any upfront costs. The cost looks like it's only whatever you want to do after the fact.
Yeah, and it might not even be that a community needs to do any infrastructure investment. It just might need like another set of eyes at a budget, or like thinking about different ways of getting revenue.
Right.
I'm sorry?
Revenue for upgrades or.
Yeah, like reevaluating how the bills are sent out, or having a conversation about delinquencies, things of that nature.
I think it's great. I think it's a great program. And I hope that, like I said, I hope that our water district communities reach out, if they need the assistance.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I know some of them do watch what's going on. So
Well, that's.
let's hope they reach out to you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for making the drive and coming down. That's a 4-ticket ride usually, so.
That I sent out.
Yeah.
You can't use too much force sitting in those chairs.
So Mike, we had a resident point out through email that we skipped public comment at the beginning of the meeting,
Oh,
and he's been waiting with his hand up since.
Oh,
Oh, and I did. I'm,
So I asked him to wait, but then he said he shouldn't have to wait because it's on the agenda and I don't know if you agree or not. So
yep, no, that's
leave
mine.
it up to you.
Thank you.
No, well, no, I'll go back to public comment. My mistake. I apologize. I don't think I've ever done that. My apologies.
Hello, people. Jim Kosis, North Mason Hill Road North. I just wanted to ask two questions, and I meant to ask this before you did your town official updates. I was just wondering if the zoning administrator, either tonight or at the next meeting, could just kind of give us an update of the status on the so-called Route 7 tag sale location that seems to be getting worse and worse. It's got in a lot more tables and a lot more vehicles and a lot more junk that is kind of there. It's extending now away from the weekends into the weekdays now. Everything just being covered, and it looks. I was wondering if there's any problem with our ordinance. And at the same time, because it's public information, if there are any violations that have been issued or fines or where this whole thing stands. I mean, it just seems like it's making the town continue to look bad. The second issue that I wanted to bring up before you went into your executive sessions is that I'm not sure if you guys have read really the executive session statute VSA 313, but nowhere in that does it specify the word personnel. And I know you guys are using that constantly, but it does say that a board may not hold an executive session except for the following issues. I mean, and there's a list of maybe 6 to 8 issues that are there. Yes, some of them are legal, some of them are contracts, but there is no word in there that says personnel. So when you go into executive session tonight, I would prefer you state, as the ordinance says, that you should really put in the motion what chapter or what section of that executive session you are going into and the reason for the exception. I think we've gone past point of no return where you guys are just totally blowing this whole executive session out of proportion and using it freely to do what you want to do and do what you want to discuss. There is no way anyone knows if you guys are holding anything in there that's in violation, because you're not even bringing up any situation to let us know what may be discussed. You do not have to mention anything about what is going to be discussed. It's just basically the parties and what the subject may be. That's all that executive session is asking, so that people know what is happening in this town. Because as you know, I'm the one that is accusing you guys of having a hidden agenda with all of these executive sessions. Thank you. Have a good night.
I'm not going to answer the executive session portion of it because that's kind of the policy we stated, but I will answer your zoning administrator question, Jim, because it is, you're correct, it is under town officials. Yes, there has been a violation against that piece of property filed. We are in the process of writing another violation. Unfortunately, it's not an overnight process, as I found out. It takes a little time to write the violations, to do it correctly so that it holds up in court. The first, I'm gonna be honest here, right? The first violation that I wrote against that piece of property got sent back to us by the Judicial Bureau a while ago because I didn't do it correctly. And they pointed that out, so they basically threw it out of court. So it's like, okay. And that was my first violation that I ever written, really, that went through the Judicial Bureau. So we came back, we rewrote a violation. There is an outstanding, as far as I know, it's an outstanding violation that has not been paid by the property owner on that. To the best of my knowledge, it has not been paid. Property owner. And we are in the process of writing another one as we speak. So it does incorporate, ordinances, it incorporates zoning violations, there's a multitude of pieces to the violation. And I hope that answers your question on that. That particular piece of property. I know exactly what you're talking about. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just had nothing, doesn't seem like anything's been happening. So that's it. Thank you very much.
And I just want to also be clear, Jim, that once so if they don't pay the violation, right, if we write a violation, we attach a dollar amount to the violation. The property owner is not obligated to pay that violation at any time, except for when they go to sell the piece of property. When they go to sell that piece of property, then the town has a lien against that. And the zoning administrator would say, I get these all the time, that there is a zoning violation against that piece of property for X number of dollars. And in order for that to be legally sold, that violation has to be cleaned up at that time. So we're not necessarily going to get the money, once the violation is written and the court accepts it. It could be however many years down the road. It could be months, years. Who knows? Who knows when you're going to get the monetary designation? It also does not require them to clean up the property or correct their violation. They can keep the violations. They can leave it the way it is. The violation would stand there until they correct the violation, and then they would have to pay the back whatever dollar amount. But then after they corrected the violation, then obviously the violation would stop and the monetary amount would stop at that point.
Just add. So this can continue on forever with them not paying the violation until they ever want to sell that property.
That's correct.
That is correct, Jim.
Then there's a problem, because I think we need to talk to Bennington, because they do not allow things to go on forever like that. So if that's the case, that ordinance needs to be changed for some reason to something.
It's not the town. It's not the town. It's the way it's set up through the state. It's not, we can go ahead and go after a violator at some point, and that costs huge money with huge amounts of money, lawyer fees and so on and so forth. It's where do we draw the line on how much we want to spend for that thing.
And you can check out on the internet, actually, the state did fine them also a few years ago.
Mhm.
So I don't know exactly like what they fined him for, but if he's still in the same, if he's, he hasn't cleared the property or whatever, then maybe, but the state has done in the past.
All right, I'm sorry I skipped public comment, Jim. I apologize. I thoroughly apologize for that.
No problem. I mean, you guys are very busy talking about lots of things, including public water systems.
Why is that funny to you?
Stop. Enough. We're not gonna engage.
I know, but.
We're not engaging.
No, we're not
That's it.
engaging. You're right.
Fiscal year 24 budget adjustment.
Okay, so I sent these all to you ahead of time from Ellen. There was a couple of bills that came in late, one for the general. Contract law enforcement, we got the bill from the sheriff's department pretty late. So she moved the money from the workman's comp line. We just need the approval for these so we can get our audit finished up, all started.
Did everybody read those?
Yes.
And everybody's comfortable with those?
Yes.
Okay. I entertain a motion to approve those fiscal year 24 budget adjustments.
For the road and the general?
Yes, we'll do both at the same time. If everybody's comfortable, we'll just do both.
Yeah, fine with that, right there.
It was pretty straightforward, pretty
I'll
simple.
make the motion.
Second it.
What's the amount? We should put the amount in there. I can't find it right off the top of my head here.
6,800.
Thank you.
And then.
And then the road was 1,500 for gravel and sand.
I have a motion on the floor to accept the fiscal year 24 budget adjustments for general fund and road fund. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All right. Community tree lighting date.
So we got a request to schedule this earlier than usual so we can book the school chorus. So the date being requested is Saturday, December 7th. The weekend after Thanksgiving, and it is the week before Polar Express, so that we kind of get in between the two important events.
It's what, December 7th?
Yes,
And that's the most important date.
with a snow date of December 8th. Just in case there's like a really bad snowstorm or something.
Pearl Harbor Day.
Mine too.
Perfect. Do we have to approve that or are we just announcing that?
Just tell
I
me
think
yes
we-
or no. They were just looking for a blessing.
Yes.
That's
Works
perfect.
fine with me.
Yep, perfect. This is last year was a monster turnout.
It was really
And-
nice.
Yeah, chorus, I think that's a great idea. I think expanding on this every single year is what our goal was. And their goal, you know, when the Historical Society and Joyce started this,
Yeah. And now
I think the goal was to expand and it
now
certainly
it's
has.
really like, it's the town, it's Parks and Rec and Pownell Historical.
That's right. There's a lot of players and looks like now we got the school involved with the chorus. So, congratulations to everybody who's been working hard on this. You've done an outstanding job and let's keep it going.
Yes.
We have a tree out here now. We're doing it right.
It's doing really well. The tree is doing really well.
We're doing it right. We're doing this, another thing we're doing right. Perfect. As a town, not the select board, but as a town. Just another step forward.
Community involvement.
That's right. Town offices concrete project estimate and possible action.
I've been trying for like 2 months or more to get estimates for the concrete and we had one come through. It's it's a very good estimate.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised,
It's,
actually.
yeah, it's right around what we were planning to pay with the previous person that was going to do it, so.
And the other thing that stands out for me in this is, it is a contractor that lives in the town of Pownell and pays taxes in the town of Pownell.
Mhm.
And is very competitive on this bid.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out.
And he's willing to change his schedule around to get it done this season and I'll come back to the board for their blessing, but I would like to ask him if he can look at putting the stairs in and the embankments.
Get a separate quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get this done, then I'll come back with that stuff, but.
Joyce
For like-
will be happy in the Historical Society.
Yeah, they really need that ramp.
Like I said, I think a couple of things here, right, to stand out, it's a very competitive, fairly priced bid, and number two, it's someone who lives and pays taxes in the town, it's a property owner, and I'm a big advocate for people who live here, let them do the work, live and pay taxes. I'm a huge advocate for that. So I'll read, it's Concrete Impressions LLC. The, estimate is $7,150 to do the concrete work on the bottom part of the parking area.
Includes the excavation too.
Scope of work, layout and established grades, excavate existing subgrades down 11 inches from the top, install the crushed stone base. I'm not gonna go into all the other stuff, rebar, it's what he does for a living. He's not gonna shortchange it, has a great reputation everywhere he goes.
Yes.
Every person you talk to, so. I think it's a great price for what we're gonna get.
Yep.
What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make the motion that we accept the bid for
I think it's just a project estimate, actually.
project estimate, excuse me.
Yep.
For the broom finish concrete workout on the south side. Do I need to put the amount?
Yeah.
And I think the amount would be $7,150.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Rick? And that does include the ADA ramp as well. Sorry, I should have made that clear.
2 ADA ramps.
Yes, sorry.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, purchasing policy review and possible update. Everybody read that.
Yep.
And that came up. Joel approached me about that a while ago. I can get into that recommendation. What's the board pleasure on that?
Accept it as written. Motion to accept it as written.
Was there,
With Darcy and Joel's changes?
The one change that Darcy had, is that,
Well, I mean, that I think should stay. If you look at the model policy from VLCT, that's in there. If anything, we might want to change it from 500 to 1,000, but I don't see anything wrong with it staying at 500. We get estimates and we always look for the cheapest price either way. That paragraph just enables the board to stay with a company if they so choose
Mhm.
after going out to bid once. For example, the sheriff's department. You don't have to go out to bid every time unless you decide to. That paragraph protects us.
and you're saying and leaving that paragraph in?
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with
leave
that.
that in, but accept the amounts that her and Joel.
Accept the amounts that they requested.
Yep.
And leave the paragraph in so that we don't have to go out to bid every
Every time.
time if we're happy with a vendor and they,
If they come back with a reasonable price.
we can continue to use the same vendor. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're happy with the vendor, you just continue using them if they're treating you fairly, right? Every time you go out to bid, it costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
And if you're happy and it's competitive, then it's, if you do your due diligence, you know if they're competitive or not anyway. And I just want to also make it very clear that we do not have to take the lowest bidder on anything we do.
take the best bid.
You take what we feel is the best bid. The board we're not required to take the lowest bidder.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to make that very clear too. When this policy, when we're talking about anything here. We're just not required to take the lowest bidder. We want the best bang for your dollar, no matter what. And a lot of times the low bidder is not the best bang. As you can attest, everyone here can attest to that, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
What's your board's pleasure on the purchasing policy as it's presented? And with the changes?
With the changes as in the amounts, but keeping the,
Yes.
Paragraph.
yeah, I'll make that motion.
Keeping the amount, or raising the amounts, keeping that paragraph in there so that we don't have to go out to bid every time.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
And raising the amounts to what Joel and Darcy and
Yes.
we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
I'll second it.
Right? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Sorry, Andrew.
It's okay.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the updated policy, purchasing policy?
Aye.
Cash receipts policy.
So that I've already updated. I just needed to include the wastewater treatment facility employees because sometimes they collect money for dumping like camper, stuff like that kind of stuff. And then I added the highway foreman. That is literally it. I just added the two of them because sometimes they collect money and they weren't on the policy.
Policy.
Approved it.
So that didn't change. The only thing that changed was two people that are able to collect cash from residents, and that makes total sense that Darcy for a wastewater treatment.
It was just an oversight. It was written
That's
as
right.
like sewer commissioners and you guys.
Any one of us, but
Commissioner.
what are we gonna do, right? I'm not gonna, sure, I'll give me your $50 and tell you to get on and dump it. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. At least it makes sense now. I'll entertain a motion for, to approve the cash receipts policy for wastewater treatment facility and the road foreman to accept cash receipts.
So moved.
Don't.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Sorry.
Sorry, Carl. All those in favor?
Aye.
Myself, one notch here. Yeah, I'll get there. Sorry. Public comment. Any more public comment? No hands are up. I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the transfer station. And with the executive assistant and admin assistant, the only two people present other than the select board.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What's that? I'll entertain a motion to exit executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
There's no action to be taken at this time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you everyone for attending.